Welcome to Newsfile. I'm Kayla Butler, and I will have your top news stories.
And I'm Tom Ross with sports.
And joining us outside is our weather anchor, Landon Chambers. Landon, how's it going out there?
Well, Kayla, it's going good. Yesterday was nice, day before was nice, today was beautiful, tomorrow looking good, but the rest of the days, no. We'll talk about that in Newsfile weather. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Landon. Tom, maybe a little bit better news coming from the world of sports?
Yeah, I'm a little bit depressed after that weather, but yes, some good bad news. We had some bad news with the Flames last night, but some good news with the Trojans. Playoffs coming up. Very excited.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Tom. And now for our top news stories. Premier Alison Redford was in town today for a big announcement that will affect cancer patients and their families across Alberta. Amy Leckelt was at the Foothills Medical Centre and has the details on the new project.
The Premier announced that a new cancer centre will be built here in Calgary that will provide the newest research, technology, and treatment to those battling this deadly disease. With more than 16,000 Albertans being diagnosed with cancer each year, the province is receiving lots of support for this undertaking.
The Alberta Cancer Foundation has already committed $200 million to this project.
As chairman of our board, and as an Albertan and as a cancer survivor, I can't begin to find the words that can effectively capture my emotions and the emotions of all of us involved with the foundation today.
And it's a good thing there is help, as this major facility comes with a major price tag.
Alberta Health Services, along with the Cancer Foundation, have been working to what the technical details need to be. Our estimate, as Mr. Daniel referred to, is that this is probably somewhere in the range of a $1.2 to $1.3 billion project.
The final cost of the project will depend on the build and design of the facility, but many are questioning if this is the right time to begin a project like this.
It's exactly the right time for the province to be taking on something like this. We were elected to build Alberta. Making sure that we have quality health care and the infrastructure that's in place to do that is critical.
The first stage is projected to start in 2015. The entire facility will be completed in 2017. The new cancer center will be built on the Foothills Medical Center grounds. The Tom Baker Cancer Center will continue to provide cancer services until the new center is completed. After that, this facility will be used to provide other clinical services here at the Foothills Medical Center. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Amy Leckelt.
Well, spring is now officially only 20 days away. It's something we look forward to every year here in Calgary, but with the coming of a new season, it also means it's time to file your taxes. Amanda Koronowski joins us from the SAIT campus. Amanda, all that paperwork can be stressful and confusing. What do we need to know?
Yes, that's right, Kayla. It is that time of year again. It can be stressful, and most people do leave it until the last minute. Unless, of course, you're getting money back, then you may have already done it. That opened up back on February 11th. Basically, the first thing you need to decide is how you're going to file, whether it be on paper, online, or whether you need some professional help.
Being a first-time business owner, I thought it was, it was hard to do because there's lots involved, your corporate tax, your GST, everything. So it's a one-stop shop, right? You get a professional help and everything's done for you.
If you do own a business, chances are you're going to need some professional help. Student returns, however, are usually pretty simple. The online software out there is actually quite comparable to what accountants use. And after you've decided how you're going to file, make sure you print off your tuition tax slip. Extra credits can be carried forward to future years, or you can transfer them to your parents. And another decision you need to make is whether or not you have the extra cash for your RRSPs.
We usually recommend tax-free savings account over RRSPs for younger students because the tax break from RRSP is much lower when you're making less money. While tax-free savings account, you can still put money in and you can make it all the tax-free, all your income.
So Kayla, the RRSP deadline is today, March 1st, so you still have a little bit of time. Taxes are due at the end of April on the 30th. Yesterday was the deadline for your employer to have sent you your T4 slips. If you haven't received yours, you should contact your employer. Make sure that they do have the correct address. And the last tip I have is it's always good to check Canada Revenue's website for a full list of deductions.
Thank you, Amanda. Amanda Koronowski joining us from the SAIT campus. This is the first year Canada Revenue Agency isn't mailing out paper returns. If you need one, you need to contact the CRA. Concerns surrounding the strength of the job market resulted in a drop in Canadian consumer confidence last month. According to the Conference Board of Canada, the Consumer Confidence Index fell 2.2 points to 80.8 in February. The board also noted the economy lost close to 22,000 jobs in January. The only province that saw a rise in the consumer confidence was British Columbia, going up 1.2%. March is Fraud Prevention Month around the world, and Calgary police are teaming up with multiple partners to raise awareness among consumers. Up until November of last year, the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre reported $3 million worth of mass market fraud. As Kyle Bukoskis reports, one area of concern they want to target and crack down on is food vendors.
When it comes to fraud, the sky's the limit around how and where an offender wants to attack their victims. There's identity theft, stealing banking information, counterfeit banknotes, or selling fake items online, just to name a few. Now Calgary police are aiming to bring down the amount of fraudulent pin pads around the city.
We really want to work with our retailers to lock down the pin pads. It is a problem. It's a thing, it's inconvenient for the retailer, it's inconvenient for our customers. So we want to help them lock down those pin pads and keep them secure.
In order to exchange those loose pin pads, you'd think it would take some brains to pull it off, but as a matter of fact, it can be quite simple. When an offender sees a pin pad that's not locked down like this one, they will approach the vendor and make very quick work, acting like an average customer and throwing in a quick distraction, asking for a bag of chips, something like that. As soon as they turn their back, they will replace this pin pad with a fraudulent one.
It's the data that comes from your card that people are interested in, right? They want that track data so that they can create fraudulent cards. And then they'll do massive withdrawals from either your bank account or using your credit card. They'll make false purchases.
The police acknowledge that the offenders are becoming more crafty with how they commit crime and are certainly not faulting consumers for their lack of judgment.
It's not that the public's not paying attention at all. It's more a scenario where the offenders, when we plug one hole, they create another hole. And so the purpose of Fraud Prevention Month is for us to come together and to provide new messaging on topics that we've discovered during the past year.
For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Kyle Bukoskis.
The Catholic Church is now in a period known as the vacant see. It's the transition between the end of one papacy and the start of another. It started yesterday when Pope Benedict officially resigned. The next step is to gather cardinals from around the world to the Vatican to discuss plans for naming a successor. It could be a long process, and local Catholics are watching the developments closely.
It's a fun day for us, but we're not placing bets, but who knows. I was asked by some Filipino media people here and said, what's the chances of a Filipino cardinal? I said, well, God is a God of surprises. You better pray for a surprise.
Under normal rules, conclaves usually start 15 to 20 days after the death of a pope. It's a necessary pause designed to allow cardinals from around the world to get to Rome for the vote. Former Pope Benedict changed the rules to allow the meeting to be moved forward. Do you really know what you're eating? Horse meat has been found in European food supply. No sign of it here in Canada yet, but it would matter to you if it was. Karen Gott investigates.
I think that you need to know what you're eating. It can't just be you can't say it's all beef and have you eaten horse meat.
Local butcher John Wildenberg has worked with meat almost his whole life. He says here in Canada we have strict regulations on meat labeling, but mistakes can happen no matter where you are.
Be a simple thing as just something was labeled wrong. I mean, in the meat industry, unfortunately, in some of the larger plants, you're dealing with immigrant labor forces, whether it's over here or in Europe, and sometimes reading the language, whether it be English here or Czech or Swedish or whatever, isn't their first language, and they may have inadvertently put something in that shouldn't be there.
Generally, horse meat isn't in demand in Canada. Wildenberg says he chooses not to distribute it.
I've had probably in the 40 years that this business has been here, probably maybe 4 or 5 inquiries about it, but nothing more than that. And just because there's the stigma about horse meat, even if I did have people who are interested in it, I wouldn't bring it in.
I think it's disingenuous to basically say that, yeah, it's beef when there's horse meat in it. I think if they were more genuine about it and just told consumers what they were buying, I think a lot more people would be fine with it.
Horse meat distributors in Alberta have lost profit due to the recent horse meat scandal in Europe. Although in Calgary there isn't a high market for the meat, so there hasn't been a big impact. For SAIT Newsfile, I'm Karen Gott.
If you're looking for something to do tonight or this weekend, Landon Chambers has all the details on what's going on in Calgary with the community calendar.
Tonight's your last night to catch Tegan and Sarah. They play at the U of C at Mac Hall tonight at 7. Tickets are sold out, but some may still be found online. The Calgary Home and Garden Show gets underway this weekend at Stampede Grounds, one of the most highly anticipated events on the calendar for the BMO Centre. This show will give you all the tips, tricks, and inspiration needed to spruce up your home. Come down to Ranchman's tonight for free line dance lessons. They run from 7 to 8, but of course the party will continue afterwards. Calgary's premier dining festival kicks off today. The Big Taste features 70 downtown restaurants vying for the title of top eatery in the city. The Hillhurst Sunnyside Winter Farmers Market starts on March 6th, running from 4 to 7 at the community center. And finally, come on down. The Price is Right Live is almost here. Calgary will play host to 2 shows on March 9th. Tickets go for $25, $45, and $60. Well, Kayla, as I said, temperatures the last couple days have been pretty nice. You'd almost call them out of this world.
You know what else is out of this world, Landon? The Axe Fragrance Company launched a contest giving a pair of Canadians an opportunity to travel into outer space.
Calgary resident Sean Anthony is one of the contestants making a bid to be in the top 2. The only problem is this contest is already very popular with already over 100,000 people already entered. But Anthony is right in the mix, sitting 67th overall. He says the amount of canvassing he's done has gone a long way to help him climb the leaderboard.
Networking online with Facebook and Twitter and of course all those social networking tools. So we got that started. And then from there, it was really just sort of rallying the support because people knew that even though I wanted to go to space, that it wasn't solely for that the chance we had for community work or to be able to bring people together as a community was also quite there as well.
If you'd like to vote for Sean, you can at axeapollo.ca or on his Facebook group, Sean for Canada in Space. Speaking of space, our temperatures, well, we've had a whole smorgasbord of weather across the country, as you'd see in outer space. Starting off, Vancouver, 11 degrees and raining. That's beautiful for the beginning of March. Same with Edmonton, too, 4 degrees there. As we move further east, we see Regina and Winnipeg, both under fog and cloud cover. Not too bad, though, -2 and -6. I'll take that. As we move further east, we see Toronto. They're at -1, partly cloudy, though. Not too bad there either. Montreal, 1 degree and raining, and moving up the eastern seaboard, we see 4 degrees in both places and rain. But that's not too bad. If you don't like the rain, why don't you take a look at these resorts? Palm Springs is the place to be today, registering 30 degrees and sun. Barbados can't complain either. They're at 28 and partly cloudy conditions. Acapulco's the same, but they sit at 31. Honolulu's slightly colder, sitting at 26. Orlando's the mild spot today at 18 degrees, while in Sin City it's sunny and 22. Taking a look at our city today, we did reach our high of 10 degrees. That was just after the noon hour. We saw partly cloudy conditions throughout most of the city today. Some patches of cloud cover, though. A west 20-kilometer wind, though, that's picked up into the afternoon. And if we take a look at those partly cloudy conditions, we see that across most of the province today. You see up north, 4 degrees. That's quite nice for northern Alberta, beginning of March. 4 degrees, I'll take that. As we see, though, it gets rainy in the middle of the province. 4 degrees, 5 and 7 in Banff. That rain, though. But we don't have to worry about that down here. 10 degrees down here, as I've said, but it gets even warmer down south. 12 degrees in Lethbridge, 13 in Medicine Hat. As I've said, pretty nice. For the beginning of March, it's not all depressing, Tom. It's really not. So, taking a look away from the province, let's look at your 5-day forecast. As I've said, 10 degrees we did hit tonight, but we could hit a low of -2. Tomorrow, though, 13 degrees. That is awesome. -3 could be our low, though, but look out, Sunday, cold. Speaking of cold, look at your ski resorts. If you're looking for a mountain with lots of snow this year, you should head to Cypress. They have 483 centimeters with machine-groomed runs and sit at 9 degrees. Fernie looks good today, too. 4 degrees with a 276 centimeter base and packed powder. Big White has 253 centimeters with machine-groomed runs. They sit at 1 degree. Revelstoke has 20 new centimeters for a base of 240 centimeters. They sit also at -1. Moving to Kicking Horse, not much of a base there, but they did get 11 more centimeters overnight for a base of 159 centimeters. And finally, Sunshine Village is -2 with new snow and a base of 160 centimeters. Looks like a great weekend to get out there and shred some powder.
Thank you, Landon. Kayla, it does get better, I guess, as Landon said. It's not as depressing, but I hope the Flames are thinking the same way. They don't want to get under the weather.
I guess not. Let's talk about that. Tell me all about the Flames, Tom. I'm interested.
I will tell you about the Flames, but hey, how about we start a little bit of an upbeat with the SAIT Trojans. It's playoff time in the ACAC, and there are a number of Trojan teams right in the middle of it. Jordan Canigan now joins us live from the campus center. Jordan, not a good result in women's basketball last night, but the men's hockey team starts their run tonight.
Well, that's right, Tom. The women's basketball provincials doesn't leave much room for error because, well, it's so short. And unfortunately, the Trojans just couldn't come up with that one win. They started their tournament last night in Edmonton, but their run came to an early end. They lost to the 5th-seeded McEwen Griffins 52-49, and now they play against Concordia in the consolation today. Also to mention is the men's volleyball team, who will head to Ontario next week for nationals. The Trojans won silver in provincials last weekend, but still earned that spot in the national tournament. And of course, Tom, the big game of the night as the men's hockey team hosts the Augustana Vikings tonight, starting at 7 o'clock. The Vikings earned their way to the semifinals after beating the McEwen Griffins 2-0 in a best-of-3 quarterfinal. Of course, their second-place finish, the Trojans were automatically into the semis. Also, 5 Trojans were named All-Stars for their stellar play this season. Mike Taj, David Watt, and Garrett Watson were named first-team All-Stars, and Colton Semenuk and Clinton Pettipies were named to the second-team squad. So, Tom, as you can see, some great hockey to look forward to this weekend.
That's right. Well, with the Trojans at least, you know who isn't playing very good hockey? The Calgary Flames. Jordan, the Flames are already making some changes, I hear.
Yeah, they're making some changes. They have to because last night wasn't too great. They called up Brian McGrattan from the Abbotsford Heat, and they've sent down Akeem Alou. We'll have to wait until Sunday to see if the changes work, Tom.
Yeah, so the Flames really did drop the ball last night. They did look good early on in the Pepsi Center with 3 goals in the first from Jay Bomeister, Sven Berchi, and Jerome McGinley. Then the Avalanche recovered and scored 2 in the second, and after Paul Stasny tied it in the third, Matt Duchesne gets the winner past Joey McDonald. So the final score for that game was 5-4. And then, to make matters worse, the Flames did sign Ryan O'Reilly to an offer sheet, but the Avs matched it, and he'll be back in Colorado and not here anytime soon. As Jordan mentioned, the Flames sent down Akeem Alou, and Brian McGrattan, the heavy fighter guy, will return for the next game versus Vancouver, most likely. I bet the Stamps are sick of losing trophies to the Argonauts. After losing the Grey Cup, now coach John Hufnagel has lost the Anis Stukas Trophy to Argos coach Scott Milanovic. Many analysts thought the award was either's to lose, as Hufnagel led the Stamps to a 12-6 record while dealing with tons of injuries, including to Drew Tate. But for the rookie Milanovic, his Grey Cup ring was too much to deny, and he took 34 of 35 first-place votes for the Coach of the Year. Skiers rejoice An expansion to Canada Olympic Park has been completed. The expansion was hit by some delays and should have opened a year ago, but better late than never is what I say. The $4 million renovation was unveiled yesterday with the help of CEO Dan O'Neill and Olympic skier Trevor White. One of the features is a new Black Diamond run, and O'Neill hopes this can bring World Cup competition to COP.
The one element that is very, very important to the city in total is the opportunity to bring, World Cup races here. We built it high enough so a World Cup women's slalom could be held. As well, coming up at the end, mid-March, we have the the North American NORAM races here.
The improvements increase uphill capacity by over 2,000 people per hour, with the addition of 100 vertical feet and another high-speed lift. The Alberta Sports Hall of Fame named their new inductees for 2013. Grant Pollock hosted the event and made the announcement that the likes of Blythe Hartley, Tyler Witherspoon, and Tom Glass made the cut. The announcement was made in front of a small crowd of close family and friends of the nominees. Personal stories were also told by fellow competitors of the 2013 class that proved the nominees weren't just good athletes, but good people too. Also being inducted was baseball player Chris Reitzma, who was the first Canadian to be drafted in the first round of the MLB draft.
When they called and said that I was inducted, it was something I hadn't thought of in a while, but it sure is an honor, and it's definitely neat to be alongside those names that they're in that hall.
The official induction ceremony takes place at the Hall of Fame in Red Deer on April 24th. The Jays were in spring training action again today with good results. They were taking on the Tampa Bay Rays, with Mark Burley getting his second start of the spring. This one going a lot better. He went 2 innings, 1 run, and 2 strikeouts. Brett Lawrie provided most of the offense with a 2-run homer in the second. The Rays put up a good fight, helped by Shelley Duncan, but they still fell to their AL East rivals 5-4. Sadly, no botched national anthems in this game. Sad face. Who says we need to stay in North America to get some baseball action? The World Baseball Classic kicks off tonight with a great matchup between Australia, Straya, and Chinese Taipei. The Pool B matchup will feature Chen-Min Wang for Taipei against Chris Oxspring for the Aussies. Once again, Chinese Taipei versus Australia. Late game for us starts at 9:30, so put another shrimp on the barbie for me, Aussies. So the snow may still be on the ground, but that isn't stopping golfers from getting a head start on the season. The season is right around the corner, and some people aren't letting that weather get in the way of their playtime. Players are heading indoors to golf domes across the city to brush up on their game. They're hoping time in at the driving range and putting greens will help shave off some strokes. The domes are about as close as Calgarians can get to playing during the winter.
Started out playing badly, so they're forever coming in here. We have a lot of clients come in here every day through the winter to get their games in shape for the season.
So hopefully this weather stays nice so the courses open up a little earlier and those guys can hit the fairways even sooner. So I think Landon had a good idea there to keep a positive eye. We'll have some nice weather. We can hit the greens and I'll be very happy with that.
I think that sounds lovely, Tom. Fast food is a quick fix when you need a snack on campus, but it's been proven time and time again fast food isn't exactly the best choice for your health. It's Nutrition Month and SAIT Newsfile has all the details. We'll be back in 60 seconds. Eating healthy isn't always easy, especially with all the fast food establishments on campus. SAIT's Nutrition for Healthy Lifestyle students are trying to make a change. Today kicks off March Nutrition Month, and Newsfile's Amy Leckelt caught up with the nutrition experts to talk healthy eating.
Hi, I'm Amy Leckelt, joined with Kaylee Freeman. She is a Nutrition for Healthy Lifestyle student here at SAIT. Kaylee, March is Nutrition Month. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we're very excited about it. We're actually setting up a booth on March 20th, and we're doing little promotions throughout the month. We're actually making little bookmarks that is going to have some healthy study snacks and recipes on them.
Right around midterms.
Yeah, exactly.
So that'll be great.
Perfect for studying.
Hit the books and be nutritious.
Yes.
Sounds good. So today we are cooking some fantastic food. What are we going to start with?
Today we are making a baked oatmeal with blueberries and bananas.
So let's hop right into it. Let's talk about the ingredients that we have here.
So we have chopped walnuts, old-fashioned rolled oats, blueberries, butter, maple syrup, vanilla, skim milk, an egg, and cinnamon, and baking powder.
Okay, perfect. And of
And
course,
the banana, can't forget about the banana.
Of course, the banana, the best part.
Well, we're gonna be mixing the dry ingredients and the wet ingredients separately. Okay, so now we are going to start assembling the baked oatmeal. So we're gonna layer the bananas along the bottom.
Sure, and I can help doing that?
Definitely, yes.
All right.
So now we'll grab the blueberries and we'll scatter half of the blueberries on top of the bananas.
All right, so only half?
Yep.
Don't get too carried away.
No. Perfect. And now we'll grab the dry ingredients.
All right.
Pour that over top.
It looks delicious. It smells even better. It's that cinnamon.
Okay, so now we're gonna put the wet ingredients over top. So
All right,
you just
and-
want to dump that right on there.
Sure. And it's okay that the butter's chunky still?
Yeah, it'll melt through.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, and now you want to grab the other blueberries.
Oh, and they go on
Yeah,
top.
right on top there.
For decoration and deliciousness.
Yeah.
I'll just... Excellent.
Okay, so now it's ready for the oven. So we have preheated the oven to 375 degrees, and we're going to bake it for 35 minutes about.
Okay. Just put it in there.
Yep. And here's what it'll look like when it's all finished.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That was so quick.
Well, that looked delicious. I think I might end up taking a couple of hints from these lovely young ladies. Gents?
Well, usually when I do that, I skip all the vegetables and just eat the pound of butter. But, yeah, you know, to each their own, right?
On behalf of the team here, thank you for watching SAIT Newsfile.
Easily.